Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Your, where we're correcting the libs on more than just the spelling of your and their other very poor grammar. Poor rhymes with your, you know. As always, we've got the most quality background gameplay going on. I think I'm gonna do more Warframe for this episode. Who knows? I gotta grind that mastery rank. You know what I'm saying? We've got the highest educated hospitalologists in the land on this show, which that just happens to be me, because nobody else is identifying themselves as a hospitalologist. and to be fair, jobologist too. I can put that in my Twitter bio. I'm the best hospitalologist and the best jobologist that anyone ever did know. I want to first mention that I missed last week's episode because I did not realize it was Christmas. I put out a tweet about this, but I don't know how many of you are following my Twitter. But yeah, so I completely missed that it was the birth of Jesus Christ, the anniversary of that. He wasn't actually born last week, if you didn't know. But yeah, we were commemorating that. That's what Christmas is. It just completely snuck up on me. So I decided, in honor of Christ, I decided to do nothing for a week. Nothing but eat and just eat. I ate beans and I played Warframe. That's all I did. So, but we're gonna get back on it. Again, I'm gonna try and make this a weekly show every Saturday. Hopefully, hopefully nothing gets in the way of it. But yeah, so without further ado, we got a lot of stuff to talk about this episode. Harry Reid died. We got China. There's some coronavirus stuff, and then to end the episode, there's some shady stuff going on. It's kind of shocking, almost shocking, but as you know, we live in clown world, so nothing's shocking anymore. But so let's get into it. Let's get into the first headline that I have right off the bat, because I don't want to deal with it for too long. From the Daily Wire. Yeah, I'm still using the Daily Wire. Trust me, I got other news sources coming up. Democrat Harry Reid, former Senate Majority Leader, dies at 82. From the article, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, Democrat, New York, released the following statement about Reid shortly after his death was announced. Basically, Harry Reid was a former Democratic Senate Majority Leader. He's from Nevada. The only thing that came out of Nevada is him. Literally in the article, I don't have the exact quote pasted here, but they literally said someone said that Harry Reid was the most important person from Nevada, which I believe that. And I mean, he was a Democrat, so he probably wasn't that important, but he's dead now, so let's stop shit talking him. Let's read Chuck Schumer's statement, and rest in peace, I guess. Thoughts and prayers. From Chuck Schumer, Harry Reid was one of the most amazing individuals I have ever met. He was tough as nails strong, but caring and compassionate, and always went out of his way quietly to help people who needed help. He was a boxer who came from humble origins, but he never forgot where he came from, and used those boxing instincts to fearlessly fight those who were hurting the poor and the middle class. He was my leader, my mentor, one of my dearest friends. He's gone, but he will walk by the sides of many of us in the Senate every single day. So there's a pretty standard, eulogy type thing. You never want to talk bad about the dead. Never want to talk bad about the dead. It's like if Joe Biden died, I doubt anyone would really talk smack about him, even though he is a terrible person. So I don't know. I don't have much opinions on Harry Reid. I don't have any opinion on Harry Reid. I never knew him. Never even heard his name till right now. But he seems important, so I wanted to mention it. So, thoughts and prayers out to that, But on the topic of death, excellent segue. Swagway. But on the topic of death, from the Daily Wire, again, I know, just bear with me. California man sentenced to life in prison after 2019 Poway synagogue attack. From the article, a federal judge sentenced a 22-year-old man who opened fire inside a California synagogue in 2019 to life in prison plus 30 more years on Tuesday. So he's serving out like 2 life sentences. The shooter had pleaded guilty to 113 federal counts related to hate crimes, civil rights, and weapons violations before his sentencing. He is now serving 2 consecutive life sentences after he pleaded guilty to numerous state crimes of murder, attempted murder, and arson, according to NBC San Diego. And then the Department of they go on to quote the Department of Justice and says, the Department of Justice announced the shooter's federal sentence in a press release on Tuesday, quote, all people in this country should be able to freely exercise their religion without fear of being attacked. Attorney General Merrick Garland. Oh, Merrick Garland. I didn't even notice the name when I was reading this, but I've heard of this guy. Said in a statement, quote, this defendant's horrific crime was an assault on fundamental principles of our nation. Well, he attacked Jews and Muslims. I don't think either of them are fundamental to our nation. But to continue, the Justice Department is steadfast in its commitment to confronting unlawful acts of hate and holding perpetrators of hate-fueled violence accountable. Remember that last point. Remember that last sentence. The Justice Department is steadfast in its commitment to confronting unlawful acts of hate and holding perpetrators of hate-fueled violence accountable. Now, I think this man, he deserves the death penalty. I think if you kill anyone, you should rot in hell, and you should be sent there immediately. But so I'm not defending at all what he did. I don't hate Jews or Muslims, right? But what I want to focus on is the hypocrisy that's outlined here. The Department of Justice. So I'll read it again. They are steadfast in its commitment to confronting unlawful acts of hate. But you know what crimes that I haven't heard anything in the news about? I haven't heard any prosecution about the 2020 insurrections. Right? That's because that's what they were. They were burning down courthouses. They were burning down federal buildings. If that's not an insurrection, I don't know what is. At the very least, it was an insurgency. You know what I'm talking about. The George Floyd, the Black Lives Matter, singular Black life, only one. The Black Lives Matter riots that were going on all over the continental United States, and billions of dollars of property damage. At least a single murder. I don't have the exact facts or statistic, but I do. God, singular statistic. Yeah, I don't have the exact facts or statistics in my brain, because I don't care. I know I'm right. But there were murders. There were murders and deaths and all sorts of maimings caused by these terrorists. And I don't think I've heard stories of a single one being persecuted. I don't think I've heard a story of a single one going to jail. Right? So the Department of Justice is retarded. Merrick Garland is retarded. And, we need accountability in our Justice Department. Because I'm spellbound, simply put, that they could say that with a straight face. The guy. Again, this shooter man, this California man, he should see the death penalty, and I'm disappointed that he didn't get the death penalty. But then again, I really do like the death penalty, and I do believe in its expansion. But either way, this was definitely a just sentence. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the 30 more years signifies. I'm not sure the significance of that. I think a life sentence is enough. Because plus 30 years, what does that even mean? What? I don't understand. I don't understand. Is it so that like if he has a heart attack, dies and is brought back, that he can't sue and say I served my life sentence? There was a guy that did that. I think it was in Argentina. I'm not sure though, but I don't understand the legal system. I don't. We need to bring back the gallows. Shut up, Brave Talk. Go away. I get notifications from Brave and they're annoying. I should just turn off my sound so I don't have to deal with it. That's what I did. I did that. So yeah, basically the DOJ is a hypocrite. What else is new? So that's all I've got to say about that. And then, you know, the article I'm going to talk about next. But from what is this? Oh, it's from the Daily Wire. Big surprise. Red states boost unemployment for unvaccinated workers fired over vaccine status. From the article, at least 5 states have passed legislation boosting unemployment insurance for workers who lost their jobs for being unvaccinated, and several more states are considering similar protections. Arkansas, Florida, of course Florida's freaking based and red-pilled. Florida, Iowa, Kansas, and Tennessee have extended unemployment benefits for workers fired for not getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Lawmakers in Wyoming, Wisconsin, and Missouri are considering similar worker protections in a Republican-led effort. Do they have to specify that it's Republican-led? It's I don't think any Democrats are going to be leading the effort to go against the former Vice President Brandon. In a Republican-led effort to fight back against former Vice President Joe Brandon's federal vaccine orders, which cover millions of private workers and federal contractors, according to the Washington Post. And then after that, the author goes on to jerk off the Daily Wire, talking about how they're suing the federal government, which I think is awesome. I'll get that out of the way. I think it's awesome that the Daily Wire's suing the federal government. But just stop shoehorning it into every article. I guess they need to get their support somehow. But either way, I actually, right now, I didn't put this in the show notes. But Texas isn't on there. I'm surprised. Well, I guess it makes sense. In my eyes, Texas is more of a conservatarian type thing, where it's like they're conservative but also like libertarian. It's like when I think of Ben Shapiro, he's like a conservatarian, He's against abortion, but like, the free marketplace, Whereas Florida, that's like more paleo-conservative, where it's like, we have governmental power, we should use it. And I think that's right, because that's, based and red-pilled. That's going to be my defense of everything. But basically, so Arkansas, Florida, Iowa, Kansas, and Tennessee, we have Republicans in power, and they're choosing to use that power for something that is arguably good. But my real issue with it is it's a cope. It's a major cope, because they have the legislative power. And instead of making it so that these private businesses can't fire people for not having a vaccine for a common respiratory disease, instead of doing that, they're putting more money into unemployment. So that sounds like something a Democrat would do. Instead of letting people go to work, instead pay them more unemployment. It just rubs me the wrong way. But maybe they don't have the legislative ability to do that yet for some reason. I don't know. So if that is the case, that they literally cannot pass a bill to say, hey, don't fire your people if they don't want to, if they don't want to get an optional vaccine or a vaccine that should be optional. Don't don't uh don't don't fire them. It's like it's so stupid. So again, I don't understand our legal system, and I don't understand how legislation works. I should know. I mentioned that in the last show that I don't know how the judiciary system works. Judicial. I don't know how the courts work, and I should look that up. I'm not going to, but I should. So basically, it's a cope. This unemployment thing is a cope, and we should let people work again. You know. On the topic of COVID vaccines, I have an article from Fox News. Ooh, I'm getting exotic here, you know. Troops encouraged but not required to get COVID-19 booster shot. From the article, U.S. service members will be highly encouraged to get a COVID-19 booster shot, but it will not be mandatory. Now, the original vaccine is still mandatory, so they're going to make the booster mandatory. And, you know, they probably should make the booster mandatory for, like, service members. You know, people who are overseas toting guns. You know, I was looking at the vaccine requirements on this. The website is usarmybasic.com. Again, I put the links to all the articles and all my sources in the description. But I was reading the list of vaccines required to be in the military, and you know what's required? The seasonal flu vaccine. It's like the flu isn't killing anyone in the military, but it's still required because you want to do everything you can to keep your soldiers and your Marines and your sailors and your airmen. I'm not going to fight that battle. The Marines, I will refer to them as soldiers. But so they have to get the seasonal flu vaccine. You know what other vaccines they have to get? They have to get the plague vaccine. The freaking plague. That is if they're going somewhere where the plague is rampant. So I guess if they're inventing a time machine, you know, to go back to the 1500s, then they have to get the plague vaccine. I didn't even know that the plague was still around. I didn't even know there was a plague vaccine until I was reading this. And it's crazy. And then there's an anthrax vaccine too that they have to get if they're going somewhere where, you know, biological weapons, which surprised me because I thought anthrax was like a chemical thing, because the only thing I ever knew about anthrax was from Family Guy. You know, like Bill Clinton, he opens the letter. Oh, geez, there's glitter. Yeah, it's got anthrax. That's my Bill Clinton impression. It's amazing, isn't it? But so the Department of Defense, because they oversee, the Secretary of Defense is above the Secretary of the Navy and all them. So yeah, the Department of Defense has a lot of questionable medical things for the military, and I'd say that's a good thing, right? You're joining the military, so you're risking your life, you know. So why not do medical tests on you, right? You've already signed away your life, right? It's like, I hate the military. I will go on record. I do not love the U.S. military. I'm probably going to end up joining the Marine Corps. My girlfriend wants to join the Army, but I don't like it. I will not enjoy my 4 years of service. I just want it for the money. And the veterans discount. And the cool uniforms. Hope I get to keep them. Shit. That's the reason I joined ROTC. Because I wanted the uniform. Apparently you can't keep the uniform when you're out of ROTC. So that's cringe. That's gay. But It's in my closet right now, and I like to just take that thing out and look at it. Because the Marine Corps has a sexy uniform. And then the blues. Oh my god. I'm on the drill team, so I get to wear the blues. I'm one of the privileged ones. It's so cool. Join, if you can, join an ROTC. Marine Corps ROTC. I think the Army and the Air Force and the Navy and the Coast Guard, they all do their own ROTC thing, but the Marine Corps, they have the best freaking uniforms. Enough about me gushing about the uniforms. I want to tell you a little story. Come out of my personal life, you know. So, my sister, she works at an old folks home, so and that technically counts as a medical thing. So she was required to get the vaccine. Well, she wasn't required in the beginning, but she was one of the first people to get the coronavirus vaccine. And guess who tested positive for coronavirus the other day? So I'm not gonna say anything, but you know it's because she didn't get her 15th booster. That's why she got the coronavirus. It's because she wasn't boosted. She was vaxxed, but not boosted. I will tell you, I'll go on record right now, I'm not vaccinated, and I have no intention of getting vaccinated against coronavirus. I'm vaccinated against, like, tetanus and polio, because, you know, those are things that actually pose an existential threat. You know, I have my MMR, measles, mumps, rubella, but I've never gotten a flu shot either. I might have gotten one once. And that was the last time. So, yeah, simply put, I just don't feel it necessary. For me, specifically. I mean, maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, when I used to weigh 264 pounds, and I was like 5'10", yeah, that could have warranted me getting the vaccine, but I'm 180 now, almost 6 foot. Funny story. Last night I was at work. Right. My manager, he was asked by one of the counter girls, how tall are you? He says, 6 foot. So I stand up. I look at this guy. And he's a solid, 5 inches shorter than me. You know, 3'4", something like that. I'm not good at guessing distance, guessing size, but he's a good amount shorter than me. And I just look at him. You're not 6 foot. I'm 5'11". And he's like, "Damn it, you caught me." So it's things like that that make me think I'm 6 foot, because I'm so much taller than people who say they're 5'11". But maybe they're just lying about being 5'11". I don't know. I do not know. I don't know. I haven't. How many times am I gonna say I don't know? I haven't been heighted. I haven't been measured in a while. That's funny. You know, when you're talking about your weight, you say I haven't been weighed. But when you're talking about your height, it's not I haven't been hied. I'm gonna coin that term. I haven't been heighted. I haven't been heighted in a while. Heighted. To determine one's height. How tall you are. My mouse is trying to chew through the metal bars in his cage. So if I sound a little distracted, it's because I'm trying to make sure he's not getting into the other mouse's cage. Because they hate each other. Because the damn guy at the pet store sold me another male. I wanted a male and a female to breed them, which I'm glad I didn't end up getting. You know, that's enough tangents. That's enough of my rantings about my mice. Actually, I should rant a little more, because we're almost through with the episode. But, so yeah, that's my opinion on the military and vaccinations. You know, there's also this thing called a peanut butter shot that I've heard of. And it seems like a pretty notorious thing. I'll look up what it actually is called right now. I guarantee you I'm gonna look this up and it's gonna be like some sort of peanut butter whiskey. It is. Shit isn't even good. I'm not a heavy drinker, by the way. Let's see. Why are the most dreaded injections called the peanut butter shot? Let's look for this. I think it's like bacillin. Bicillin. Pre-filled vial of bicillin. This is like thick stuff. Yeah, and there's a big needle, and you get a lot of it in your ass. What it does is it's essentially like it's a big old it's not a vaccination, it's an antibiotic, I guess. I honestly don't understand it, but so basically when they inject it in your ass, it's like a rock and it hurts so bad from what I've heard. And that shit's just supposed to, dissolve over time. So you have to get it if you're in the army or Marines, whatever. I don't know actually if you only have to get it if you're going to high risk areas or whatever, but I know you have to get it at some point in your military career, and it sucks. And it's just like a bunch of antibiotics. It kills a bunch of bacteria, is what it says. Bicillin, Bicillin. Let me make sure I just spelled that right. Because I closed out of the damn article. But bicillin. Oh. This is interesting. Bicillin LA on Pfizer.com. Interesting. I guess that shouldn't be that interesting. Pfizer is a big manufacturer of pharmaceuticals. Big pharma, I'd love to be the CEO of Pfizer. Well, no, I wouldn't because I'd be going to hell. But it's weird. Government's got its hands in the pocket of Pfizer, don't they? With the mandating the coronavirus vaccines. Or wait, they don't. The government doesn't have its hands in the pocket of Pfizer. Pfizer has its hands in the pocket of government. Either way, government give money to Pfizer. Vaccinations are free. Someone has to be paying for that. Pfizer ain't giving that shit out for free. The government's paying for it. They have to be. And the bicillin shot, I know the Marines aren't paying for that shit. So that's the military industrial pharmaceutical complex is what I could say. It's a way to give a bunch of people drugs that they would never need so that these big pharmaceutical companies can get rid of that stock and make money. It's interesting. JFK was killed for talking about the military industrial complex. They get into all these wars and it makes money because the weapons manufacturers, arms dealers, the government has to buy weapons from them. So it makes them money. So then they will lobby for candidates that want war. So then they'll continue to buy weapons from them to make money. It's this sort of circular thing. And it's ridiculous. It's scary. It's scary. I do believe some wars are very warranted. Like, China. China. Honestly, I would like to see that war. I mean, I wouldn't like to feel the results of it, but I would like to see who would win. It's this morbid curiosity. Who would win the war? Because we would like to say that we know the U.S. would win, but China, they have so many technological innovations going on lately. That hypersonic missile, glider shit, all sorts of technology. While the American military is like, let's go gays, yeah, you know, it's a little scary, and 3-4 years from now, when my girlfriend, if she does, goes into the army, we're probably gonna be in a war by then. And it's probably not gonna be a war we're gonna win. And she's probably gonna die. So, I can at least collect a paycheck from her. So I'll take out a health insurance, a life insurance on her. But so yeah, I'm gonna stop ranting about the army and the military. I have some fun news. I found fun news. Oh, I didn't put the link to the article. I know I have it. Let me grab it. Right here. Let's see. So it's from Fox News. Again, another one from Fox News. But time capsule found at Confederate General Robert E. Lee statue site reviews Civil War era artifacts. Feel like they could have shortened that title. I feel like it's a little redundant. So a time capsule at a Confederate statue. Well, it's probably from the Civil War era. And a time capsule generally has little things in it. Those little things are artifacts. So your title is redundant, Fox News. God, I hate the right-wing media. I hate media. I hate the left-wing media, too. It's all terrible. This one isn't even a right-wing article, because it goes on to say Black Lives Matter protests, and it talks about... said something else. I forget what it said. And it said something that was, like, stupid, and I wanted to make fun of it, but I didn't copy it down for some reason. Where is it? It's in here. I have to see it. Oh, yeah. It says right here. It says that Ralph Northam, governor of Virginia, former governor. I actually don't know how that works. I don't know when Youngkin is getting in. Was Youngkin the one that won? I don't know. There's a reason Ralph Northam isn't the governor. Isn't gonna be the governor. You know what I mean. You know what I'm trying to say. So it says he ordered the statue to be removed amid protests sparked by the police killing of George Floyd. So, actually, I don't remember the trial. I don't remember much about the George Floyd trial. I don't even remember if he was convicted. But, so, they just say, yeah, police killing. Which, I still believe it's not it's not a matter of believing, it's a matter of truth. He wasn't killed at all. And it's like, my Marine instructor even says, or no, he didn't say anything about George Floyd, but he said the Black Lives Matter riots were peaceful, but it was little insurgencies. They got in and they made it. They caused the ruckus. I'm like, no, their entire ideology is violence. But I didn't want to get in an argument with him because he's old and scary. It was the same thing when he was talking about obedience, and he's like, so a person of authority, you're gonna obey everything they say, right? And I'm like, most of the time, yeah, sure. And he's like, then he goes on, you're gonna do what they say, right? And I was like, it depends. And he's like, God damn it, Wilson. What does it depend on? And I'm like, teachers, that one I did push back on a little bit. I was like, with all these stories coming out of Hazard and stuff, I don't think I would just do anything a teacher would say. Right? And then he's like, well, you haven't seen any of that stuff going on here, have you? And I'm like, no, but you can really never know. You can never be too careful. So it just shows the difference between a Marine and a right-wing extremist. Because he was, when you're in the Marines, you have to have, for as long as he's a master sergeant. Is he a master sergeant? Yeah, he's a master sergeant. I had to think about that. But yeah, he's a master sergeant, which is pretty high up the ranks. So he had to be in the Marine Corps for a while. And when they train you to be like, a dog of the military, especially for that long. You're a dog, really. You do what you're told, and you don't ask questions. It's like if someone told me to just shoot a little Afghan boy, I would not do that. I don't care how long the prison sentence is. If that's all I know, that it's just a little Afghan boy, shoot this little Afghan boy. No, he doesn't have a gun. No, he doesn't pose any harm to you. Shoot him. No, I'm not a terrorist. I don't do that. Now, if the little Afghan boy had an AK-47, I'd shoot that little bitch. I'd shoot that little feller. I wanted to use a racial slur, but it's definitely not safe for YouTube. Yeah. So again, it depends on the context. I would not do anything that a teacher or an administrator says. I wouldn't even do anything that the Marine instructor says, or the senior Marine instructor, or the Region 1 director of ROTC, or Colonel Oatman, or whoever else. I'm going to get kicked out of ROTC one of these years because of the things I say, and I honestly don't care. It's not a big part of my life like it is for other people. I'm not that invested. I mean, I would like to climb the ranks. I'd like to be commanding officer of our little high school, but I could live without it. And I mean, yeah, it'd suck that I'd have to take gym for a semester instead of taking ROTC for 2 years. And I know what I would prefer, but if the need be, I could manage. I don't even know. I don't remember what I was talking about because I had to. You probably heard a cut. I had to pause it because there's people yelling in the background. I was talking about Robert E. Lee. How did I get to talking about ROTC? Oh, because I was talking about the Black Lives Matter. Okay, I know where I am. Oy. I need to learn how to stay on track. But anyway, so they found this time capsule, and from the article it says, books, money, ammunition, pamphlets, newspapers, plural. These were but a few of the Civil War era artifacts that I have autism. These are a few of the artifacts that that people who save things, experts, uncovered in a time capsule found at the site of a Confederate General Robert E. Lee monument. Oh, of a monument. Okay, that was worded weird. That wouldn't make sense either. Never mind. Just gonna shut up. The 36-pound box was discovered in Richmond, Virginia, and carefully extracted from the monument site a day earlier, marking the end of a long search for the elusive capsule. As the contents inside were unpacked, they appeared to match the description of the 1887 time capsule that conservation experts had been looking for. That's the word I tried to say earlier. But anyway, I think this is sick, to find something from the Dixie era, the golden days of the Confederacy, But the reason they found it is rather sad, because they only found it because they tore up the statue of Robert E. Lee. Robert E. Lee was a great man. He was a brave man. Sure, he fought for the Confederate South, which, slavery, which is not good. I don't think we should enslave our fellow man. That's not a great thing. But Robert E. Lee, he was brave. He fought for something he believed in. That's a lot more than a lot of people can say these days. A lot more than a lot of conservatives can say. So, because I have conservative friends. I have lots of conservative friends. I might have talked about this in the last episode, but I want to talk about it. they're conservative, but they're like in the closet conservative. My girlfriend has like everyone, all of her friends, convinced into thinking she's a total liberal, and that she's gay, so she can. Can I say faggot on YouTube? I don't know, but well, so she can say that. I've already said it. Might have to censor it. I don't know. I'm not gonna suck my dick. But yeah, so, and that's the only reason. So she sacrifices her identity so she can say a word, and so she, she's not prosecuted, so she's not hated on. I think that's terrible. It's like me. I say the N-word. I say all sorts of slurs. I'm not gonna say them on YouTube because I'd be kicked off. I'd get community guideline strikes. I should actually probably bookmark the timestamp when I said it's like 40 minutes in. Okay, 40 minutes. I'm gonna write that down so I can censor out what I said. Boom. But yeah, so point is, get back to the main story. They shouldn't have torn down the Robert E. Lee statue. They shouldn't. And then I like how it's like he tore down the statue, and then like a little bit later, Ralph Northam, he was like, "Yeah, you should tear down the pedestal too." It's like you would think if they're tearing down the actual pretty part of it, then they'd tear down the ugly kind of concrete base of it. I guess Democrats just don't think logically. But, this is probably part of the reason. It's definitely part of the reason that Ralph Northam ain't the governor of Virginia anymore. Thank God. But, I mean, that's not the worst thing he did. Definitely not the worst thing he did. He did worse things. But I like my Confederate statues. I want to know what they did with the statue. Because, like, if they just, threw it away, I would have taken it. I'd pay, a couple $100 for shipping. Get it over here, just, put it in my yard. I'd like to have that. Because that's a piece of history. That thing was probably up since... No, that thing had to have been up since the 1887, it says. Because the dang time capsule was in the base of it. So, just to throw away all that history is terrible. It's like, I mean, obviously, this doesn't apply to every case, but it's like when you've been dating someone for 6 years and you decide to just break up with them. It's like, first off, you should have been married by then. Second off, you're just going to throw away all the history that y'all have. It's like, if the relationship is broken, it's always easier to try and fix it. Again, that doesn't apply to everything. Abuse, generally, adultery. But I don't get it. I don't personally understand it. But anyway, so that's the fun news of the day. They found a little time capsule. So that's always fun. It did say it was anticlimactic, though. Earlier this month, Northam ordered the pedestal removed as well, and crews working on the project again started to search for the artifact. A time capsule was discovered 2 weeks ago, generating excitement, but hours of painstaking and ultimately anticlimactic examination suggested the artifact was placed by someone else, perhaps someone involved with the construction. I don't get how that's anticlimactic, because you're still finding something from that era. That's even better. Someone involved with the construction? That's so cool. I just think that's really cool. I like history. I like the Confederacy. But it's just neat. A little neat something. To continue the trend of neat somethings, forced labor of Uyghur Muslims. So I have 2 articles from CNN. I'll read out the headlines to you, but they both relate to just that, to forced labor of the Muslims. So we got Biden signs bill banning goods from China's Xinjiang maybe. Xinjiang. Xinjiang. Maybe. I don't know. I know Chinese has like tone and pitch patterns. I don't, and you know, just the pinyin doesn't really contribute much to the tone. Xinjiang over forced labor. U.S. adds drone maker DJI and 7 other Chinese companies to investment blacklist. I really hope you can't hear that vacuum in the background because I'm not redoing this. So basically, through these articles, what we have, I didn't quote the articles. Again, they'll be in the description so you can read them. So basically, what we've got is Joe Biden actually doing something kind of good, which makes me think I'm missing something. I should have read these articles more thoroughly. Probably should have done research. But I will, for now, I'll defend Joe Biden on this one because this is a net good, in my opinion. I think because what you've got is this prefecture area thing in China, you know, Xinjiang, where basically we found out that there's forced labor going on. They're using the Uyghur Muslims. You know, they're doing more than stealing their ovaries. They steal their ovaries and then they make you a little Apple smartphone. But I guess that's not what Xinjiang's known for. Xinjiang is known for poly something used in solar panels, and they're known for cotton and tomatoes, which we don't. Why do we import our cotton and our tomatoes from China? You know, the South used to be the king of cotton, and Indiana grows a shit ton of tomatoes. We're like one of the biggest exporters of tomatoes in the U.S. So why China? Why? why we don't need Chinese tomatoes. We don't need Chinese cotton. We can make that stuff over here, and then we can refine it over here. That's what we should do. Oil is the same fucking way. You know, we don't really drill for oil in the U.S. anymore. There's so much oil in Alaska, Montana. I think Kentucky has some veins. I know for sure Kentucky has coal because my great grandpa was a coal miner in Kentucky. But there's a lot of oil in the U.S. and even like in the Gulf of Mexico, we have so much oil. But what we do, even with the oil that we do mine here, that we do drill here, we send it to China so they can refine it. It's why can't we do that here? What's going on in Nevada? Why can't we just make Nevada like some sort of industrial manufacturing state, you know, where there's just factories all over, pollute the shit out of Nevada. Nobody cares about Nevada, or like maybe Arizona or New Mexico or regular Let's annex Mexico and make it an industrial state. Let's make it China, because that's what China is. China's an industrial state. They my geography teacher's was talking about this back when I went to school. She was talking about how China skipped industrialization, the part where they improve everyone's life, part of industrialization, and they just I don't know how to describe it because I don't remember her words exactly, but it's like they skipped a step in development, so that's why they're weird. That's because China, you gotta think, America is the biggest economy in the world, but what do we export? We don't manufacture much. Like, we make some cars. We make the best damn cars in the world. Ford, Chevys, GMC. So like cars. Like, we make some tools. I think Snap-on's made in the U.S. Genuinely, I'm struggling to think of boilers. I know Indiana's known for making boilers. That's why the Purdue team is called the Boiler Makers. My grandpa was a boiler maker. I might be a boiler maker if my other job prospects don't work out. I don't know. I don't know about my jobs, but anyway. Yeah. We don't manufacture, we don't export things. Under Trump, we actually became an oil exporter. Now we're an oil importer under Biden. I forget who I heard say that, but it's kind of wacky doodle. But what do we export? Most of our GDP comes from like the service industry. Comes from like higher tier goods, I guess. Because again, geography teachers talking about, the tiers of goods. There's raw materials, and then you refine it, and then you market it, and then research and development. We're mostly like the high tier marketing, research and development. We export a lot of entertainment, but those aren't tangible things. They don't help people. So stupid. It is ridiculous. But with the Chinese, all I can think about is it's a soy jack meme. China's are like, no, you can't just stop trading with us because we're using slave labor. And then, it's the US is like, haha, freedom go burr. And it's I like when I'm listening to a podcast. Oh shit, I knocked over my trash can. I like when you're listening to a podcast, and at least the podcasts I listen to, it's like Zcast and like Slightly Offensive. I think they do it the most. Where it's like, so I heard from a meme. It's just the funniest thing ever. It's like you got this super autist, smart genius guy, John Doyle, and it's like, yeah. So I saw in a meme. It's funny. Funny memes, but back to China. So yeah, they're banning certain. You can't invest in DJI or other Chinese companies, and it says 7 other companies other than DJI. But trust me, I skimmed this article. I could not find what the other 7 were, and I really wanted to know. I was genuinely curious, because I like money. Actually, I am a Jew. Shit. On my dad's side, though, so it doesn't count. But yeah, I like money. I own like 3 ounces of silver. I'm thinking about buying more. I don't know, because the dollar ain't worth shit. But silver and gold, they aren't keeping up with inflation at all. It's like I should get Bitcoin. I have some Bitcoin. I have 1,000th of a Bitcoin. But the problem is, I don't have a bank account. I have a savings account, but I can't. It's a custodial account. I don't have a checking account, so I can't, transfer money into Coinbase or whatever. I'm using Bitforex, which it's like barely tangible. I don't know. I don't understand crypto. I want to get more into it whenever I do get a bank account. Hell, by then Bitcoin will already be up to 200,000, and I don't know. But yeah, I like investment. I'm interested in that. So, wanted to know what these 7 companies are. CNN wouldn't tell me. I could probably Google it. I just don't want to. Because we're getting to the end of the show, and you know how at the beginning I said that we had a bombshell report going on, that we had something ricka crazy, something a little shady, kill me, going on, and it's about Ghislaine Maxwell, they're both. I got articles from fairly liberal news sources So it's not like some super crazy right-wing conspiracy sites. I got it from CNN and I got it from thetimes.co.uk, and you can tell it's a British website because they use the letter C in defense. But so the article reads from CNN, Maxwell 60. Apparently she's 60. She doesn't look 60. But I guess that's from all the aborted baby fetuses she's been eating. Was found guilty of 5 federal charges. Should make it really like 7,000. She was found guilty of 5 federal. She was found guilty of 5 federal charges: sex trafficking of a minor, transporting a minor with the intent to engage in criminal sexual activity. That's a long ass charge. That should be like 7 charges in one. Transporting a minor, that's kidnapping. The intent to engage in criminal sexual, that's statutory rape. Probably more than statutory. It's probably like forced rape, but of a minor. And 3 related counts of conspiracy. So it's not a conspiracy theory. Literally. You can't say that Epstein is a conspiracy theory. It's literally a conspiracy. That's literally what she's charged with, and that's literally what she was found guilty of. 3 counts of conspiracy. So, I guess it might not be the conspiracy theory that we wanted. It might not be the conspiracy that we were hoping for, but it is conspiracy. And then later they say, the road to justice has been far too long, but today justice has been done. And you'll understand why I'm reading this with a mocking tone, if that's coming across, in a minute. U.S. Attorney Damian Williams said in a statement, I want to commend the bravery of the girls, now grown women, who stepped out of the shadows and into the courtroom. Their courage and willingness to face their abuser made this case and today's result possible. So, justice was served, eh? So, okay. Epstein didn't kill himself. So, he got a weird form of justice, you know. He's dead, rotting in hell for eternity. And Ghislaine Maxwell, she's gonna follow within the week, watch. But Ghislaine Maxwell got found guilty of a couple of charges. Does it say does it say she's serving life? Well, either way, she should be serving life. I hope she rots. Oh, she should get should get the death penalty. But so here's why I don't think it's just. From thetimes.co.uk, Ghislaine Maxwell's little black book to remain secret in court detail. I found this while scrolling Twitter. It's from December 13th. So, I mean, the CNN article didn't mention it. But, so, let me read the article. It's on a paywall, so I could only read like 2 paragraphs of it. But the prosecution and defense in the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell have agreed that her little black book of contacts will never be made public, even though the jury was allowed to see part of it. Judge Allison Nathan ruled at Manhattan Federal Court that only a limited amount of material from the British socialite's contacts book would be released under seal. I didn't even notice this again while reading it. The British socialite. That's what they referred to Ghislaine as. Does socialite mean something different in Britain? Socialite definition. My internet is slow. I'm gonna get y'all a definition of socialite. Socialite, it just means a socially prominent person. Someone who is well known in fashionable society and is often seen at parties and other social events for wealthy people. It's technically true. She got around. She's well known. But that's just such a dismissive way of putting her. Call her Satan. Satanette, I guess. Because Epstein was big ol' Satan. But, so they had this little black book of of all her contacts, of all of Ghislaine's contacts. They had it. They should have taken that book, contacted everyone on it. Because a contact book generally has contact information in it. You wouldn't have to do much work. But they said no. And why? Why are they keeping that secret? I would not be upset at all. I would not think it's a violation of the rule of law if they published that shit on an open forum and put a bounty on their heads. Each and every one of them. Maybe some of them is just like, Mom. You know? Because I have contacts in my phone for normal things like friendship, not drugs. I don't do drugs, trust me. But I have friends that do drugs. I could do drugs if I wanted to. It's weird to think about. But I have contacts on my list that I talk about manufacturing illegal firearms with. Those would be the people you'd want to prosecute. And I have people on my contact list that's like, hey, Grandma, can you come pick me up from work? Thank you, love you. You know? So, I mean, that would be something I wouldn't love. But the point is, the DOJ, prosecutors, attorneys, whatever, I don't know, again, who would be doing the authorities, right, should be contacting the people in that little book and interrogating them, right? Placing them under arrest for with reasonable suspicion, right? Because there's a pretty damn good reason to suspect them, because they are associated with Ghislaine Maxwell, who was found guilty. She was found guilty of sex trafficking. That's never a solo thing. I don't think it was just Epstein and Maxwell that were sex trafficking. That's impossible. You gotta have the Clintons in there. You gotta have, there's a lot of people involved. He had an island. Guy had an island dedicated to this. That's probably the reason he wasn't the richest man in the world. Because he spent all his money on a sex island for little children. That can't be cheap. I don't know jack diddly about his financial status. So, maybe he was the richest man in the world. Or maybe he just made 6 figures. I don't know. Who knows? Someone knows. Google knows. But the point of the matter is that this is ridiculous, and justice has not been served yet. I want more heads. Put them in the guillotine. It's ridiculous. Man, we're only at 1 hour. All right, so I'm gonna talk about a little news story I heard the other day. I was watching a Guns and Gadgets video. He was talking about a red flag law that was coming to the Senate, the federal Senate, for a national red flag law. Obviously, hopefully, the Supreme Court would shut that down in an instant, because red flag laws are extremely, extremely unconstitutional. And I actually hope that this red flag law makes it to the Senate. Because because federal law has to go through federal courts, right? Federal court is the Supreme Court. So that could be a way of expediting getting these red flag laws in front of the court. Because, like, Indiana's red... I'm pretty sure Indiana has a red flag law. Indiana's red flag law, you'd have to make it through the circuits. You'd have to get up there. Districts, I think it's districts, then circuits, then the Supreme Court. You'd have to, sue and go all the way up. Right? You have to climb that ladder. But I think with federal laws, the way it should be is that you just go straight to the Supreme Court. And I believe they would overturn it. I pray to God that they would overturn it. It'd say, yeah, no, you're not doing that, bud. Oh, sure, bud, you're not doing that. Because it's so blatantly unconstitutional. The Constitution, Second Amendment reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It doesn't say unless mentally ill. It doesn't say unless you think they might cause violence. That's the point of the Second Amendment, people. People forget that. People don't forget that. Republicans talk about how the Second Amendment exists to prevent tyranny all the time. But then they go on to say violence is bad. At what point do we use the Second Amendment? This is a genuinely good thought I had the other day. That's why I'm talking about it. At what point are we supposed to use the Second Amendment? Because, again, everyone on the right and every Second Amendment supporter says to prevent tyranny. But I'd say we've been through some hella tyranny the past 2 years with the coronavirus lockdowns, with the current administration, with these vaccine mandates, with what we've seen in the public schools. There are so many reasons to invoke the Second Amendment. But nobody on the right has. I haven't heard anything of a single right-wing riot since January 6th. And even then, nobody was killed. Nobody was killed in that riot. Except for one of our people who was shot by Capitol Police. I don't think that guy ever went on trial. No, wait. They did go on trial. I remember, because that one guy, threw a fit and was crying. Like a pussy. And yeah. At what point do we... And I mean, yeah, the safest and securest election. There have been so many instances of this bureaucratic bullshit, oligarchical, technocratical tyranny that I've never heard anybody else draw a line. I watch so many political podcasts. Zedcast, Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, Ben Shapiro, Andrew Klavan. As you can tell, I love the Daily Wire. Slightly offensive. You Are Here. I watched John Doyle's channel, but I've never heard a single person say, this is where we need to draw the line, and this is when you get to use those guns for what they're made for. And I understand that they can't, because if they do give you that line, someone's going to cross it. The left will cross that line. And then, so that's giving you permission to use violence. And YouTube doesn't like that. The government doesn't like that. So it makes sense that to save their own ass, they wouldn't say anything about that. But I'm sick and tired of all the bullshit. And I need to know when we're going to draw the line as a people. Obviously, I support the political process, and I think everything should be sorted out peacefully. But what if it can't be sorted out peacefully? When do we crusade? I don't know. I'm just a 15-year-old, That's the anarchist in me. But we've gone to war over less in the Middle East and in the past. We went to war with Britain because they increased our taxes. Well, geez, we get tax hikes every damn day under the Biden administration. I wonder what would happen if we brought George Washington, Samuel Adams, Alexander Hamilton, all of them back. We just brought them back to see the modern world. They would, let's just say they would find the fastest way to buy a mil-spec tank. A tank, to for blowing stuff up. Let's just say that. Because the world we live in now is not what the founding fathers intended at all. And, well, when y'all are seeing this, it's gonna be a new year, 2022. Amazing how fast it's going. I'm gonna be 18 in 2024. That's just 2 more years. Later 2024, but still, I want to be able to vote in the 24 election. And I think y'all know who I'm gonna vote for. And I think we all know he's not gonna win. But let's get it. Stay on it, Let's pray that 2022, the midterm elections, let's hope they bring something amazing. Let's pray for a miracle. I'm going to end it here before I start going on terrorist rants and I get put on more than just a watch list. So yeah, have an amazing New Year, guys. I love you all, and God bless all of you.